My name's Chris Michael. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ozone. We're a software company which provides technology and services for central banks and market makers centrally, but also banks and financial institutions globally.
So I've often described you, Chris, as the rock star of open banking. So don't be shy now. So open banking started, 3 years ago now?
Well, open banking started, actually open banking's been going about 20 years, but in the old model. I mean, I think what we've seen, starting with the CMA order in the UK, we've seen open banking really starting from 2017, 2018, but it's really only been in the market for, I'd say, 3 or 4 years to any significance.
So you were the CTO of OBIE. So you were instrumental in building the APIs and the architecture and the design. Please just talk us a little bit about that, because it's history in the making, it really is.
Sure. So my role was to lead the development of the open banking standard in the UK, and that was somewhat of a challenge because we were dealing with regulations that weren't fully formed or weren't complete. We were dealing with banks who wanted to do one thing, FinTechs who wanted to do another thing. And the real challenge was getting people to agree on what was the right thing to do. And the way that we did that was we tried to focus everyone on the use cases for the end user, the personal banking customer, the business banking customer. What's the right thing to do for those end customers? What are the right use cases that meet their needs? And therefore, what standard do you need to enable that?
So that's a lovely segue, because I'm intrigued. Tell me about the use case. What's driving the market? What are you seeing, and what can you share with us?
Sure. Well, it varies actually quite a lot depending on which country you're in. But effectively, you've got regulatory drivers in different parts of the world that are mandating banks and financial institutions to provide APIs, but they're also providing a licensing framework and a liability model for third parties, for FinTechs. But then you've got the market drivers themselves. So, for example, in the US, there isn't a specific open banking or open finance regulation, but you've got some of the banks self-organizing and providing APIs around a common standard. But it takes a lot longer when you've got that model in place. Where you've got the regulations coming in and putting firm deadlines in, then what you tend to find is all of the banks moving at the same time.
So all of the banks moving at the same time. Lessons learned in the UK?
Yeah, I think that's the theory. So in the UK, we actually had two sort of overlapping regulations, the CMA order and PSD2. And the CMA order governed and mandated the CMA 9, the 9 largest retail banks, and the PSD2 covered all of the banks in the UK and in Europe. So it wasn't quite everyone moving at the same time. But even then, there wasn't, across the whole of Europe, there wasn't a mandate to implement a single standard. So banks followed the regulations to varying degrees. They didn't all do it in time. In fact, very few of them did. But what we're seeing now in other parts of the world is a much tighter regime, much tighter conformance or requirement to conform to a single standard. And Brazil's a good example of that, where the whole market is moving pretty much at the same time.